So here we go. The world champions, the leaders, going into the free dance here at the NHK Trophy in Tokyo. The pressure's off a little bit because of the mistake from Chock and Bates. Do they know that? They probably might be aware. Sinitsina and Katsalapov. Music from Rachmaninoff. Wow, really complicated twizzles, and weren't they good? Beautiful. Fantastic. The world champions, Victoria Sinitsina Nikita Katsalapov. That's as good as I've ever seen them. Even better when they won the world title. Remember, they won the world title when Caesar and Papadakis were taking a year out. They're now the main threats to the French for the World Championship, and they surely have wrapped up the NHK trophy. Wonderful to see them in this kind of form. Simply glorious, Chris.
Was fantastic, yeah. Just seamless transitions throughout that program. Went by so fast, didn't it? It was a joy to watch. Technically very, very demanding, but they made it look so easy. Always had to wait over the right part of the skate. Great flow to the program.
And this their first international outing of the season. And to produce performances like they've done here.
Yeah, I think it's the first time. If they do win this, it's the first time they've won the NHK.
They haven't been beaten anywhere now for 2 years. I know the French haven't been taking part because they took a year out. But no one else could beat these two. It's going to be fascinating when we get to Beijing. These two next up in the Rostelecom Cup in a couple of weeks' time. The French, they're in the International de France in Grenoble next week, so they're not going to meet. But the marks could be fascinating. But they have wrapped up the gold medal, that's for sure. Uncanny timing.
Yeah. It's amazing. When you look down on paper, there's very, very little between the Americans and these two as far as the technical content of the program. But the way the two teams perform the program, I think the second score is going to go up for these two. The grade of execution on the elements must be good because they look so polished.
There's Alexander Zulin alongside them. He must be very happy. A certain amount of relief, but also pride and enjoyment in what was a special routine.
Yeah, I think they'll all be relieved because you put the program together and you're never quite sure how it's going to be accepted, whether the crowd get behind it, and of course whether the judges get behind it. But I think these scores are going to be good.
Yeah, 129. It's their season's best because it's the first time they've competed at an international event. 4 points off their career best, but most importantly, they extend their lead over Chock and Bates. They beat them in the rhythm dance. They've beaten them again in the free. And great to see the Brits on the podium. Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson. Disappointment for these two, but they must have known it was coming.